Representative Lauren Boebert believes that the Supreme Court's immunity ruling actually spells trouble for President Joe Biden. According to multiple legal scholars, the 6-3 ruling along ideological lines that opens the door for presidents to engage in criminal activity that could be construed as official activities by the nation's chief executive. However, Boebert, she took this ruling a little bit differently. In fact, on X, she posted this. She said that the Supreme Court isn't protecting Trump with this ruling, which clearly protects Donald Trump. She says SCOTUS is simply ensuring that the ruthless Biden administration follows the rule of law. Now, wait a minute here. How does giving the president immunity, pretty much blanket immunity, how does that prevent, how does that help the rule of law? If anything, it allows the president to be above the law. There's no criminal prosecution for official acts. And what's an official act? We don't necessarily know. Well, hey, as long as it's for an official act, though, no president, Biden included, can be criminally prosecuted for doing anything. So, if anything, this could, if Biden, wants to use the power, he could make it an official act to keep a criminal from running for president. Through executive order. Take your pick, right? Now, the ruling notes that when determining what is an official act, you would actually not be able to consider the president's motive in doing said act. So you can't say, oh, Joe Biden's come after Donald Trump and it's all political because he's a political opponent. Can't look into the motive. I know it doesn't necessarily work like that, but still. A better example is taking a bribe, okay? So there are laws against bribery. The president can't take a bribe, right? Well, that said, the president can give pardons, right? Now, if money just happened to appear into your account or in your hand or whatever, like, you can go with the most comical example of somebody just literally handing Donald Trump, for example, becomes president, handing him a bag of money after he pardons a particular person. Under this ruling, the immunity ruling, you can't look and see if that's a crime, the crime of bribery, because you're not allowed to look at the intent. It's absolutely comical, all right? Not only that, but apparently now you will not be able to pressure your Justice Department, you will be allowed to pressure your Justice Department to investigate unfounded claims that might help you be able to stay in power. And of course, nobody can look into that as a crime. You're allowed to do it. It's, again, this ruling is just insanity. So now the internet weighed in, and one commenter was pretty quick to point out, Biden can now arrest Trump and send him to Gitmo officially? Yeah, it's an official act, by the president. I'm cool with that. Anybody else? Look, the executive branch, by the way, the president can can order the CIA to do something called an extraordinary rendition. Now, it's where they can go and take people they think might be terrorists, kidnap them from one country, and then take them to another country, for example, Cuba, where we have Guantanamo Bay, or whatever black site exists in the Middle East right now that we don't know about because it's a black site. We already are, the executive branch is already able to do that. Now, Donald Trump's an American citizen, so certainly they couldn't do anything like that, could they? I don't know. Who's to catch them, right? The president's immune now. So what's to stop the president from just breaking the law and doing whatever he wants if there's going to be no consequences? Who's going to hold him accountable? The Congress? Congress? Through what? Impeachment? Good luck getting 2/3 of Congress to agree on impeachment. See, this is the problem with near blanket immunity. If you give them that power, there is no method for accountability anymore. Impeachment is not accountability, by the way. It's a political trial And that's going to be based on partisan lines. Republicans will not impeach a Republican, not this current Republican Party. I know that Donald Trump was impeached twice. They wouldn't vote to convict. Now, that said, would Democrats impeach and convict another Democrat? Probably. But that said, the problem here is only one side still believes in rule of law. That's not good for a country. That's not good at all. It's not good for rule of law, specifically. Now, more comments here. Karma Lama points out, which now means he can put you in jail as long as it's an official act. I hope not. Another person says, excited that Biden can now do whatever he wants. He can officially do whatever he wants to you as of right now, so I'd keep my voice down. Another suggested, whereas David Smith pointed out, sure, whatever. I'm hearing he may issue an official executive order to declare convicted felons cannot be presidents. Biden is not ruthless. SCOTUS just said so. King Joseph of Scranton will also suspend the 2024 elections indefinitely and give himself another 4 years. Thank you, SCOTUS. Another says, so he can do whatever he wants. Biden could have all the Republicans deported. Now, here's the thing. A lot of these are super extreme examples, and are not entirely serious, a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff. But that said, when it comes down to it, what's to prevent him from doing, policy positions that he wants through executive order? Now, a great example of this is student loan debt. Why not cancel student loan debt completely? You could just ignore the Supreme Court's order on student loans, right? And just order the education department to have all the student loan records deleted before anybody could stop him. I mean, what's to prevent him from ordering the head of the education department, get rid of all the student loans? Do it now. Technically it's illegal, sure. Because the Supreme Court has already ruled that it was illegal, that it was outside the scope of his powers. But I mean, who's gonna hold him accountable? Really? I mean, he's immune for an official act. After all, look, the powers of the executive branch, are clearly pointed out in the HEROES Act, which empowers federal government to change student loan programs in response to a national emergency. Well, we had COVID, that was a national emergency. And so the president could use his power to change the student loan program into one where it just discharges everybody's debt. Again, the Supreme Court had already argued that, this violated the separation of powers. The same Supreme Court, which argued the separation of powers in that decision, just put itself between federal agencies and regulations in the Chevron decision. Okay, they got rid of the Chevron deference. So that means that instead of having experts be able to, basically clarify any regulations that aren't entirely clear, okay, it's the court's job to do that. So the court inserting itself into regulatory matters, which are in the executive branch. So you see what's going on here, okay? That's a clear grab of power by the Supreme Court, and yet they're the ones that are saying, well, look, presidents have to have all of this immunity, but at the same time, obviously you can't violate your separation of powers by getting rid of everybody's student loans, but hey, if you take bribes or anything like that, totally fine. Totally fine. So, the Supreme Court has a rather strange idea about the separation of powers and which powers should actually belong in the executive branch and which should belong in the judicial branch. So, again, if the court is really concerned about a president having too much executive power, why then give near blanket immunity to the executive branch? I've only got one answer to that, and it's not a good one. Might have to do more with who is leading in the polls right now than what happens to be constitutional. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.